Hello, welcome back. It's Monday, August the 12th. I'm Wayne Lawrence. This is the good, the bad, and the stupid news. Hope you've had a good weekend. If you haven't, you probably definitely had a better weekend than Jeffrey Epstein had, because the news over the weekend was that he'd actually managed to murder himself whilst on suicide watch in his cell. When all the goings going bad against him, he's managed to sort of not kind of get away with it, but not have to answer to all the shit that's coming his way, or somebody else has made that situation occur. Who knows? I mean, it's hard to tell how somebody on, well, he wasn't actually on suicide watch. They took him off suicide watch apparently, but somebody who is basically suicidal, who's already attempted suicide, is on some kind of suicide watch. Because how do they guide between when you are and you're not? Do they just say, are you going to kill yourself? No, you promise? Okay, here's your belt and your your sheets and everything else, and we'll turn our backs on it. So it's a grey area what's happened, but the bottom line is that he's gone, and he's not going to have to answer, apart from all his diaries that apparently he has left behind, which he meticulously documented everything that went on. So there's going to be a few more heads to roll, or maybe people to disappear along the way as that unfolds. But it's not really something I want to talk about, to be fair, but it's the big news of the weekend, isn't it? And also I wanted to see, there was something in the news today which relates to it with Prince Andrew, and the Queen has come out in a show of defiance, or support, should I say, by inviting Andrew into to go for a ride with her. The Queen put on a show of support for Prince Andrew yesterday after his paedophile pal Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in prison. Andrew is accused in court documents of romps with underage girls, and basically the Queen has invited him to ride along in a car with him. So that's a mother's love, isn't it? Unquivering. You wonder what the Queen would fucking get anywhere near that situation. You shouldn't really be coming out in show of defiance, they're saying there, as if to say, my son's not a paedophile, please. You shouldn't really want to get involved in that kind of story or situation. So, but she's coming out and and sort of, I've never seen him. You never seen him, do you? He's almost like never in the cameras or in the public eye. So it is strange to see him back in the car with his mum going for a little jolly. So the rumour mill says that she's calling him out on a show of support against paedophilia, though, but it's still very murky, isn't it? So she's probably just better off staying out of it. And then George Clooney's been called into. I mean, everybody that's been into any kind of contact with the guy will be dragged into it, won't they? But this one was funny because it's not funny, but George Clooney's been dragged into it because one of the girls at one of his socialite events went around blagging to giving him a blowjob in the toilet. So there you go. That's what you get if you're George Clooney. That's kind of a, what's it called? A mark on the bedpost for some, like almost like a badge of honour. I'll give George Clooney a blowjob. But there's nothing saying that anything was untoward or underage, but he's just obviously been dragged into it. He's like, anybody photographed with him or whatever else now are going to be shitting themselves, I suppose. It's like Jimmy Savile Part 2 or Harvey Weinstein, but this one is like, it's fucking going deep, isn't it? All and sundry. And if like the people say that they're going to go after, like the way they say they're going to do, then everyone will get exposed, but it never does. I mean, this shit happens all the time, don't it? Cover-ups, they manage to fucking get it So the main people don't. They maybe like drop a few people in it, you know, let some people take the fucking heat or whatever else, but the rest of them now cover their tracks, blame others, and get away with it. But it's a shame, really. But I don't think many people will be sorry to see him go. £484 million he's left behind. You know, you got all that money, and still you fucking end up like that. So just goes to show, fucking power and obsession goes to your brain and turns you into, well, turns some people into something like that. Not 99% of people, but fucking, I'm sure he's not, what's the word? He's not alone, put it that way. Advantage, that's take advantage of the power in the situation. Anyway, hopefully I haven't just ruined your Monday evening by bringing you down with that conversation. So we're going to move on to something a little bit. Have you got anything? What's that one? Dropping this stuff all over the place there. I'm going to bring it down. We're going to move on to what's this? The couple that had a wedding, and they fed 280 wedding guests from landfill grub, basically food that was waste food that was meant for landfill, but they didn't tell the guests until afterwards, I don't think. So it'd be funny to see. I'd love to see the look on some of the guest faces if they were told afterwards, and if they are any kind of snob or snoot, whether they would have turned their nose up after, you know, enjoying it so much, and all of a sudden they hear it and then they start going, oh, you know, actually I do remember that tasting a little bit off, that chicken. And yeah, how many people now are going to blame whatever they feel like shit the next day from all the free booze? They're blaming on the dodgy landfill food. But no, it's a good idea though. Great. They could be a good example to anybody, all the food waste, and it's something to do with a company called the Real Junk Food Project. But how much food waste? I mean, I know all about that. I just had about 10 bags of vegetables, which was just about to, I mean, some of them, to be fair, were borderline off, but they were all going, so I just bonged them all into a massive big pot and made I don't know what I've made. I'm going to call it soup, but many people will call it slop. But I've made something. I've just salvaged it at the last minute, and now my fridge is full of bloody, what's it called, containers full of slop, with every kind of vegetable that probably doesn't go with each other. But it was either that or throw it in the bin, weren't it? So I think I took, I was actually a day ahead of them, a day ahead of the news on that one. So I'm feeling them. I'm feeling the save the food, stop wasting food. And to be honest, that all cost me about £2, because it was already on the end of its last legs down the market. I bought it from the market, and they were selling it cheap because it was fucking turning then, and that was 2 or 3 days ago. So let's hope there's a few more of these videos, or otherwise I'm going to be tucked up in bed ill with gastroenteritis or something. So watch this space. Right, now I'm joking. Millennials are turning to new age pastime of astrology to deal with the stresses of everyday life. Fucking right as well. That's not just well, the astrology is, but the stresses of everyday life don't just apply to millennials. Let's put it that way. The popularity is thought to be down to young Brits looking to the cosmos for answers because they feel like they live in an age of frustration and letdown. There were people still, actually, that people used to be banging into that, didn't they? The reading your stars and astrology and everything. I don't really see it. Obviously now they are, but you don't really hear or see of anybody doing that these days, do you? I mean, I haven't read my stars for a fucking long time. I mean, I don't actually really believe in that, the stars and stuff, but at the same time, I am a very typical Aquarius. Have you ever read a thing on your star, whatever your star is? Mine's an Aquarius, and if I read that and that was pretty much, I'd say someone was describing me. But at the same time, I don't actually believe in the stars, so it's very weird because I've read other ones. I've read other star signs, and they're nothing. They're not me. So I'm definitely a typical Aquarius, but I don't think I've ever read the stars and they've actually fucking meant anything that actually was too true. So it's weird, but anyway, they're back in town, the stars. So the astrologers are going to be back out giving their bullshit. So if you're into all that, tune in to whoever your local, what's he called? What they call him? Astrologer. Anyway, Danny Dyer, that's the daughter Danny with an I, not with a Y and an I, has told her stockbroker boyfriend to propose to her. I bet she has. The 23-year-old who has won Love Island. Anyway, I don't really care about those story, but we had a few dates when we were teenagers, but he was always a solid guy. I've told him I want to get married. I've told him I want him to propose to me on a boat and ASAP. I told him what kind of ring I want. Fuck you, now I was laying it on. I don't think he's got a choice in the matter, has he? He's probably going, okay, whatever you want. Very forceful. Well, some blokes like that, don't they? So, but I can't see it lasting too long if fucking he hasn't got a say in the matter. Well, he's off doing what a young guy in love will do, isn't it? The future will tell. He's a stockbroker, so let's just get your assets covered before you. Anyway, I'm digging myself a hole here, aren't I? Moving on. A former page 3 girl is suing the police for £200,000 after an officer used his force helicopter to film her sunbathing naked in her garden. Numerous times, sex obsessed he was, with a high-tech camera to zoom in on her. 200 grand she's going for, which is like, well, I suppose it's as good as a video that she might bring out or whatever else. I suppose she paid free, but she might. She says, well, I don't know if it's against stress or what's it for. She's claiming for stress and depression and whatever else because I don't know if she was being spied on, but how did she even find out about it? The police will only admit to it on one occasion, but apparently he did it hundreds of times just on her. So she must have been going, what the fuck's that chopper doing up there all the time? It's fucking circling around and around and around and around. Like, it must be, she's probably thinking there's some criminals like in the street, but it's actually her. Happened to have her top off all these times. All the choppers here again. Taking advantage of the situation. I'm sure she didn't, but you never know what's going on, do you? That's the police. That's the police, meant to be law and protection. He's actually up there fucking flying. He's not even flying, watching where his helicopter's going. Breast watch. Right, okay. Miley Cyrus has finished with her Hemsworth, whoever he is. What's his name? Liam Hemsworth. Miley Cyrus has split up. Again, I don't really care, but I just thought it was funny what I read earlier on that she's came out and apparently finished, and he's more pissed off about it than her, because she's like moving on and like she's giving this big old speech about life moves on and I'm not standing still, things are ever changing, something along those bullshit. But he hasn't said nothing, and apparently he's a bit more gutted about it. But then I saw a news thing about, it was like one of these Facebook clickbait things that make you click into it, but I only looked at it for the sake of backing this story. But anyway, it said that Liam has now came out and spoken about the split. So obviously you click in to find out what he said, and basically all he said was, they said he's spoken about it, and all he said was, "You don't know what it's like. I don't want to talk about it." That was it. The fucking click in just to see him say, "I don't want to talk about it." So he hasn't really fucking come out and spoke about it, has he? He's actually fucked off back to Australia. But the main reason I want to get it pulled this out was that she was talking some inspirational kind of quotes along the lines of, and she said something that her dad always told her, and that is that nature never hurries, but it is always on time. And I thought that was like, that's a really good line, that, isn't it? Nature never hurries, but is always on time. But her dad told her that, and her dad is Billy Ray Cyrus, so I can't really use that line ever again, because how am I gonna? It's come from Billy Ray Cyrus. Nature never hurries, but it is always on time, which is a great line. But I'm not going to quote to somebody, as Billy Ray Cyrus once said, "Nature never hurries, but it is always on time." It doesn't quite go together, does it? So, at the same time, that being a great line, it's ruined by the fact that it's come from Billy Ray Cyrus. So, shame. Let's move on to Poop Scoop Ice Cream. What? Oh, a shop is serving. Excuse me. A shop is serving seagull poo ice cream, but has refused to reveal what makes up the flavour. So they're making ice cream that looks like seagull poo or tastes like seagull poo. It's basically grey with a white blob on the top, something or other, whatever. Right, so it's a bit of fun. Obviously, it's seagulls are another buzzword, aren't they, at the moment? They're in the papers every bloody day. They're in the papers more than fucking Peter Andre or something like that. But what I thought about that seagull shit ice cream, how would you tell if a seagull shat in your ice cream if you're eating seagull shit coloured ice cream? At least if you had a strawberry or vanilla one and a seagull shat on it, you'd fucking know, wouldn't you? But if seagull shits on a seagull shit ice cream, well, then you've eaten seagull shit and seagull shit ice cream. And I bet neither tastes very good either, so, Catnapping could signal Alzheimer's disease, according to research. Scientists found that the brain cells which enable daytime wakefulness are the first to go in a neurological illness destroyed by a spreading protein. Well, that's fucking put me off having a little lie down in the middle of the day. Got to force yourself not to, so that you can't start getting paranoid about Alzheimer's, can you? But then again, if you have got Alzheimer's, then you're not going to remember catnapping anyway, are you? So the circle is complete. You can probably just carry on as you are, and you won't know any the wiser. Well, that's the whole point of Alzheimer's, isn't it? So you don't actually know you've got Alzheimer's. Do people actually know they've got Alzheimer's? It's like people who are mad. Do people who are mad actually know that they're mad? If they're, I'm like totally mad. Some people know when they've got certain illnesses or whatever, but some people when they've lost it, they don't. Do they know they've lost it? No. Not really. Here's somebody who's lost it, or who fucking never had it in the first place. Is Britain's most hated woman, so she's called here. She's crowdfunded. There you go. Let's have a little look at Britain's most hated woman. She's basically trying to crowdfund for a bomb lift on the NHS. She's crowdlifting for a bomb lift crowdfunding for crowdlifting. She's crowdfunding for a bomb lift after the NHS turned her down, but because they turned her down because she recently revealed that she faked depression and got a £7,000 nose job on the NHS. So she's basically tried it again and got away with it. But now she's asking crowdfunding. Fuck me, where's the page? Come on, give us the page. Let's tell everybody, and we'll send you some money over. Get your arse sorted out. Send you do crowdfunds to get your fucking brain looked at, maybe. And basically, she was going, I need it for my mental health and for my self-esteem. So the NHS definitely won't pay for this time. So I'm asking for the crowdfunding. She goes, I don't know why transgenders get operations left, right, and centre, but they will not pay for my bum lift. So she's obviously fucking a right bag of laughs to be around. Imagine if she was forcing you to marry, telling you, I want to get married tomorrow, I want the fucking ring, I want it on a boat, I want a boat, I want a fucking Ferrari, and I want my arse sorted out, and I want you to pay for it. Yeah, she's basically just, the worst kind of scrounger, basically. Well, she's a scrounger, and she's saying she's milking the system, but she says, I don't care what people say. Some might think that I'm milking the system, but that's what it's there for. I'm just clever enough to know how to do it. Well, you're not clever enough to keep your fucking mouth shut and not let everybody else know what you're doing, so, fuck you now. You might have been born with a big arse, or is it a little arse you're trying? I don't know what kind of arse you're trying to go for, but you weren't born with a big brain, put it that way. What's this one? Okay, what time we got? Oh, this one. I'm not going to get through them all, but just you might have read today in the paper or seen on the news that lots of the papers were saying that aspirins. This is where it's very hard to believe what the fucking you get told so many different things that it's very hard to know what is true because it always changes further down the line. My point is, what I'm talking about here is an aspirin a day could help women survive breast cancer. A study of 1,266 patients found that those who regularly took them before they were diagnosed lived longer. The drug may interact with chemical modifications in tumours to help improve outcome. So basically what they're saying is aspirin a day could help women survive breast cancer. That was in the one paper. In the other paper, same day, right, headline, aspirin could be harmful to women with breast cancer. Do you see that? Aspirin could be harmful to women with breast cancer. Taking aspirin could cause harm to some women with breast cancer, according to new research. Previous studies have shown that women who use aspirin are later diagnosed with breast cancer may live longer. This is thought to be related to the drug's anti-inflammation effect on the body. So I don't know whether that's a fucking error or whether that's what they're saying there. I haven't got time to go through it now, but two completely different headlines, two different papers. One of them is The Independent, one of them is the fucking Sun or the Star, I don't know. So you have to make up your mind whether you want to take an aspirin or not, because one of them is bad for you, one of them is good for you, depending on the paper that you read. So yeah, that just goes to show, isn't it? I mean, they're telling people for years that aspirins were good for heart attacks or stop you getting heart attacks, and then fucking years later they're saying, oh, if you're taking aspirin a day, it could cause you stroke. So how many people have had a stroke before fucking finding that out? Right, okay, so where are we? Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello are set to notch up a 5th week at the top of the charts. As soon as I read that, the first thing I thought was, who? Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello. I must be very out of the loop with popular music because I've no idea who they are. and I've got no desire to find out either. So I guess that's for Radio 1, or that must be on repeat on Radio 1. You know, the way they fucking brainwash you with the fucking playing the same shit song over and over and over and over, and all of a sudden, oh, lo and behold, they're number one because people fucking have had it drilled into their brain. Yeah, untoward, just fucking untoward goings on that radio station. It's all fucking money. Right, okay. Gun sales are surging in the US after recent mass shootings. Of course they are, because it's Americans. Americans love guns, and Americans hear about guns, and go out and buy more guns. Even though, as I said the other day in a video, there's 320 million guns already on the streets in America, which is, I don't know, is that 50 million more than there is people? But now they go out and buy more guns because they now feel threatened. They feel they need to go out and buy guns to protect themselves. The irony is fucking, I don't know. It's deafening. It's deafening, and it's fucking yeah. They just don't get it, do they? How could you, probably run into the gun shop? You know what I mean? Get me a gun, queuing up. I've got a fucking, But then it's your kid that finds the gun and goes out and bangs people. So, fucking, they ain't got a clue. But they're never going to do nothing about it because President Trump's talking with the National Rifle Association about background checks. So he's on that fucking roundabout. It's come back around and around. But they say something about that. We must do more to keep guns out the hand of wackos and mental people. Well, that's never going to happen, is it? Because if there's 320 million guns in the world, in the country, it's not going to be hard for anybody who's fucking mental, wacko, or whatever else to figure out that there's a gun somewhere very close to them. So, yeah, still dangerous times for them over there. What's this one? Shopper Lindsey Matthews picked up a £2.60 pizza in a local Asda and was charged £239 for it at the tills. The checkout lady said, "Oh, that seems expensive," and the lady replied, "Oh, you think?" On the checkout, and then she scanned it, and it actually scanned it again, and it come up and doubled the price to £596.12. Anyway, she didn't pay it, didn't have to pay it, and my point is, how did that even become news and get in the paper? Even though I've just gave it even more light of day by fucking talking about it, but my point was really to say, has somebody just gone, beep, oh, that pizza says £239 instead of £2.60, and they're like that, right? Get the newspapers. I can't wait to tell them this one. She didn't pay. She just went and paid the normal price. I should have gave the pizza for free, but they've gone home and then fucking ringing the papers, going, "You never guess what happened to me today. There's a £2.39 pizza, £2.60 pizza. Tried to charge me £239, and the paper's like, I nearly said the name of the paper then. You can guess. They're like, "Oh, that is a brilliant story. We're going to run that. That's fucking top of the fucking pops. We've got, all this shit going on in the world, and that pizza deserves a space in the paper." Right. This has been fun. I'm going to finish up now on, three more. I'm going to finish up on three more. It's been a bit all over the place because getting back from over the weekend, but hopefully it's been some kind of entertainment for you. Barge holidaymakers were left high and dry when pranksters drained 2 miles of the Kennet and Avon Canal in Wiltshire. Fucking pranksters, lock gates were left open in the areas. Pranksters have drained 2 miles of the Kennet. I mean, like, there's pranks in it. That's not really a prank. That's like fucking hard work as a prank. There's like, that must have took them fucking ages to deal with that. Like, drain all the water out. Oh no, let's fuck people up in the barges and drain all the water out of the the lock, and that must take fucking a lot of effort, and it must be some kind of hard-working prankster for that to have any fucking benefit to you. It's not even funny, is it, really? It's just kind of stupid for you. You're kind of giving yourself work. Anyway, not like us when we used to go down the canal. The barge used to go through the tunnel. It was like a 10-mile tunnel, but just before it was going into the tunnel, everyone would throw bricks and that. And this is when we were very, knee-high. But we'd throw things at the barges as they went past anyway, because they know that they couldn't turn around because they're going under the tunnel. It's just about to go, so they couldn't do anything about it. Shitty thing to do, but there you go. What are you going to do? Kids from council estates. Give us more youth clubs, and we don't have to throw bricks at barges. Right, Richard Gere got onto Richard Gere was on holiday in Italy, and he jumped on the boat where the immigrants or the migrants, should I say, got on the boat and gave a speech. He said, I've already came to Lampedusa 2 or 3 years ago to visit the migrant hotspot. He said, so I know the situation firsthand. They are people who have lived horrible stories. They have suffered a lot, and they call them migrants, but they are refugees who need help, which is true. And that is, like, very noble of him to sort of get involved and put his face to it and highlight it, because they are treated like, well, I'm gonna say like shit, or second class, not worthy, don't want you here, all that kind of shit. When it's other countries that have caused the shit in their countries, so of course, I tell you what, I'd be on one of the boats if I was them. So I can't really say much. But what was good about this was that the guy who's their far right prime minister called Richard Gere back out then, because obviously he's dealing with the influx of them into Italy, and he said, given that this generous millionaire is voicing concern over the fate of the open-armed migrants, we thank him. He can take all the people aboard the boat back to Hollywood on his private plane and support them in his villas. Thank you, Richard. So he's like, he's got him back there with the fucking bruiser of a line, but that should have been thrown back for Richard Gere then to give him something back. But it was a good line. But the bottom line is, he's wrong from his perspective. I mean, somebody's got to do something about them. But I just thought that was a funny line, Oh, thanks, Richard, for having such concern. Why don't you take them back to your mansion and you deal with them? And Richard Gere's probably like, whoa, I didn't say that. I'm on holiday. I've got a table booked at 9 in fucking so-and-so restaurant, and it's a table for 2. Sorry, I can't take another 8 people with me. So yeah, I think you two-shade him a little bit there. Well, I'm going to finish up on this last one, which is sports one for a change. Did you see the thing Mo Farah was... sorry, what was his name? Mo Salah. Anyway, he was running... Not Mo Farah, Mo Salah. Liverpool player. Anyway, fucking, I can't remember his name. Mo Salah. Sorry, I should know more. I should know better. But a young fan was following his car down the road and was chasing him, trying to get his attention, and ran smack into a lamppost and bust his face up on the lamppost, knocked himself out. He was only young. And Mo Salah stopped and had a photo with him. That's the photo. Look at the kid. He's like trying his hardest not to cry. His face has been bounced off the lamppost, and he could have wiped his nose for him a little bit, took the blood away, made it less of a embarrassing photograph. But the kid's happy as hell to meet his idol there, but he's hiding pain. You can see the pain in his eyes. But don't worry, son, we've all done it. I've run into more fucking lampposts than whatever when I was growing up. It was kind of part of the cause for my clumsy nature, but you don't know fun when you do it, let's put it that way. But he's copped it, he's alive, and he's met his He's idle, so everything's all good, I'm sure. He's got a story to tell. Hopefully he keeps the picture. I'm going to leave it there. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I've been Wayne Lawrence. Thanks very much.